Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So if you've been following my shiny hunting journey in Pokemon Sword and Shield, you'll know that ever since the game's released, my whole goal inside of Sword and Shield was to obtain a full Gen 8 shiny living dex. And just earlier this month, on February 3rd, we accomplished that goal. We got the final shiny that we needed for our Gen 8 shiny living dex, and it is now 100% complete. And it just feels really, really cool to have this big accomplishment just completed. I basically started this like the day the game's released, and had been all of like my on-stream shiny hunts outside of doing things like my monthly community hunt that I host, and a few other things. All of my targets had been either new Pokemon from Generation 8 or Gallerian forms. And we finally got the last one that we needed. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to go through the entire Gen 8 living dex, the shiny living dex, and just kind of go over all of my different shiny hunts and talk about any of them that stand out for any reason, either being really easy and very few encounters, or being very, very annoying. And then kind of talk about where I'm going next now that I have the Gen 8 living dex completed. So let's just dive right into it. So before we start, I will just preface this by saying that the Gen 8 living dex for me and for a lot of other people that are working on this right now, what the Gen 8 living dex is composed of is all of the new Pokemon that have a obtainable shiny inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield. This doesn't include any event-specific shinies, which there actually aren't any, so that, you know, kind of makes that easy. But basically, any Pokemon that has an obtainable shiny that you can get by playing the game, either Masuda Method, random encounters, soft resets, anything like that. So it includes Grookey through Dragapult, and then when we got the Crown Tundra, it added in, that expansion added in Regidrago and Regieleki. So it includes Grookey through Dragapult, Regidrago, Regieleki, and also all of the Galarian forms as well. What this does not include is it does not include the like the two different forms of Toxtricity, all the different forms of Alchemy, Indeedee, that kind of a thing. It's just like one Toxtricity, one Indeedee, and one Alchemy. Now that I'm done this living dex, that's one of the things I'm kind of working on the side, is getting shinies of those additional forms. But as far as the living dex is concerned, it's just one of each Pokemon from the 8th generation. So we'll start with Grookey here. The way that I actually have my Pokemon home organized is I have the non-shiny and then the shiny right next to it for like the whole national dex. So for Generation 8, everything is all here nice and side by side. But into the older generations, you'll see stuff like some has a shiny next to it because I have that shiny, and others it just has like its next evolution stage next to it because I haven't obtained the shiny yet. So let's look at Grookey. So the entire Grookey line, nothing really stands out about this line in terms of being like super annoying. I started hunting Grookey. It would have been this one, actually, the one that I left as a Grookey. I hunted this Grookey before hidden ability starters were released. That's why it has Overgrow. But I was very lucky in the shiny Grookey that I hatched to evolve into both Thwackey and Rillaboom hatched with hidden ability. And I actually boosted this Rillaboom, shiny Rillaboom, to level 100, gave it the G-Max soup on the Isle of Armor so that it could be a G-Maxable hidden ability shiny Rillaboom. So yeah, nothing really crazy stands out about this line. Nothing took super long. So yeah, moving into the Scorbunny line, I went for all of the Scorbunnies when hidden ability starters were in the game. 2 of the 3 of them hatched with the hidden ability. The one that I left here as a Scorbunny hatched with Blaze, but that's totally cool. One of the Scorbunnies was very, very quick. It was like 23 eggs. I was very, very lucky one night when I was shiny hunting. I had just gotten a couple other shinies already on that stream, and then I started Masuda hunting Scorbunny, and I got it in like 23. So we've got our Raboot, which is hidden ability, and we have our Cinderace, which is hidden ability, and as you can tell, it's got the G-Max soup there. So, the Sobble line. all 3 of my shiny Sobbles hatched with hidden abilities, so that was super, super cool. So, one of the Sobbles took, I think, around like 800 or 900 eggs. One of the Sobbles was pretty lengthy, but the other 2 weren't too bad. And I was very happy about this. My female hidden ability shiny Sobble, it is still stars, it's not squares. I didn't get that lucky. But this one, when it hatched and it was a female and hidden ability, I just decided to make this one the Inteleon. For anybody who doesn't know, starter Pokemon have a 7 out of 8 chance to be male and a 1 in 8 chance to be female. So if your shiny starter is ever female, you kind of got like a slightly rarer shiny there. So that's why I took this one up to Inteleon. But yeah, it was just the one Sobble that took a long time. The other 2 don't really stand out as taking too long. Going into Squavette and Greedent, neither one of these really took a long time. I think I hunted both of these off stream, but one was, I was actually chasing an overworld Squavette on Route 1, and I accidentally hit a random encounter, and that random encounter gave me a shiny Squavette, so that was kind of cool. And that's where I got I got them both on Route 1. But yeah, nothing was super crazy there. Rookity line. 2 of the Rookities I got in under 500 encounters total. This was back when the games first released, and a lot of people, myself included, were under the impression that if you did 500 knockouts, it was a permanent boost to your shiny odds. So I was running around doing 500 knockouts on a lot of the early Route Gen 8 Pokemon, Rookity included. And so I think I got like 2 of them just before I got to the 500 encounter mark, so that wasn't too bad. And then the other one, I don't exactly remember where I got it. I think I was just doing I was doing random encounters. Yeah, I was doing random encounters on Route 1. I think it was like New Year's Day. Actually, it'll probably say, yeah, this is the one I got on New Year's Day of 2020. I was just doing random encounters, and I got the last, I think it was the last one. It may have been the second one. Either way, it was on New Year's Day. But yeah, none of them were super, super crazy. Blipbug. I think I Masuda methoded most of them. It doesn't specifically say, it just says met. It doesn't say if it was hatched or not. So that's not a huge deal. There might be a way to filter it out in home if they were hatched or not, but no biggie. I think... Oh, okay, no, this is what it was. I Masuda methoded one of them. I did random encounters for another Blipbug that I evolved into a Dottler. And then for Orr Beetle, this one I did as a strong spawn, which is why it's level 60. So I caught this one as a strong spawn. It's one of my favorite shinies from Gen 8, and I really wanted to hunt this one specifically as a strong spawn. So that's where I got this one. This one came from a random encounter on Route 2 in like the back half once you get the water bike. And you can go to where that like one-time Obstagoon is, and there's a few grass patches back there. And then this one obviously was Masuda method because you can see it's level 1 there. Alright, so Nickit. This one came from the wild area. I was doing knockouts on Nickit. And the day that I decided to hunt Nickit, there was weather in one of the locations in the wild area where Nickit had a very high spawn rate, which made it much easier to encounter a whole bunch of Nickits rather than waiting for them on Route 2. So I decided to go there, and in the process, I got a shiny Nickit. And then for Thievul, I really don't remember where this Nickit came from. It may have been a Nickit, or it may have just been a Thievul. I really can't remember. But yeah, it doesn't really stand out as being super difficult. Both of my Gossifleurs were very easy. And by easy, I mean not many encounters. The first Gossifleur I got off stream, and then the second one that I evolved into an Eldegoss came from one of my community shiny hunts. I got it at like 948 encounters. I was just about to wrap up the stream. 950 was going to be the stopping point. But I got a shiny Gossifleur at 948, I think was the number. And yeah, then I evolved it into an Eldegoss right there on stream. So it was pretty cool. Wooloo. So this is what happened with Wooloo. The first Wooloo I got from Route 1, again, just while I was doing the 500 knockouts early on. I did have Shiny Charm for all of these hunts, by the way. And then the second double here, or the double here that was a Wooloo, I'm pretty sure this one was Masuda method. I was getting near to it was getting close to when the Crown Tundra was releasing, and I wanted to get all of the shinies before Crown Tundra. So some of them that I could have done as random encounters, I just decided to start Masuda methoding them, because Masuda method, although eggs are brutal, you do have higher odds on Masuda method. So I just figured I would go with Masuda method for some of the later shinies that I needed as Crown Tundra was approaching, and this was one of them. So that's where this the double came from. The Choodle, this one came from the wild area, that's why it's level 60. Very, very quick. It was like 110, 111-ish encounters into the stream. Very, very quick, so I'm very happy about that. And this Dreadnought was evolved from a Choodle that I caught, I believe it was on Route 2. I don't know why I never thought of this before, but Storm Drain boosts Choodle's odds, or spawn rate, I should say, on Route 2 as an overworld spawn. So I just took my Gastrodon to Route 2, and there was Choodles everywhere. So that's where I hunted for the second shiny Choodle, which evolved into this Dreadnought. I did the exact same thing for Yamper. I caught both of these on Route 2, just outside of Professor Magnolia's house, because if all three spawns are not Yamper, then you can just use the door to reset. And so I used a Pokemon with static to boost Yamper's spawn rate, and that's where I caught this one. And then I caught another one there and evolved it into a Boltund. So that's where both of those came from. Neither one of them were super, super lengthy, so that was really, really nice. Roly-Poly is one of the easiest Pokemon to shiny hunt, especially in the wild. On Route 3, right outside of Galar number 1. Roly-Poly is a 99% spawn rate, and Trubbish is the other 1%. So what you can do, one of the things about Sword and Shield is that once a Pokemon spawns in the overworld, every single thing about that Pokemon is already determined, and that includes whether or not it has a mark or is shiny. So what you can do is, outside of Galar Mine number 1, there's a patch of grass that has 3 spawns, and most of the time it's going to be Roly-Poly because it's like a 99% spawn chance. So what you can do is you can get all 3 Roly-Polys to spawn, save your game, check the one that's on the far left, and then if it's not shiny, you soft reset your game, and when you turn it back on, you already know that that far left Roly-Poly is not going to be shiny. And then all you have to do is just run back and forth between the other 2 Roly-Polys and leave that third one on screen, because it will never despawn unless you leave the area. It will just stay there forever unless you encounter it or leave the area. So you can leave that one knowing it's not shiny, and then just run back and forth between the other 2. You can get upwards of like 250 to 300 random encounters per hour for Roly-Poly. It is very, very quick to shiny hunt, and that's where I got all 3 of mine. The one that I evolved into Carkol, and the one that I evolved into Colossal. None of them were very, very long. They were all under 1365 odds, and they were super, super quick. Like I said, you can get a lot of encounters per hour. It's a very, very good and easy shiny hunt, if it's an easy hunt that you're looking for. All right, moving into the Applin line. All 3 of my Applins came from Masuda method. There are a couple of locations where you can hunt Applin in the wild. You can use Harvest, a Pokemon with the Harvest ability, to boost its spawn rate. But the main location where Applin is huntable is on Route 5 outside the daycare. And it doesn't matter which version of the game you have, there's going to be another grass type encounter in that grass. It's either going to be Nuzleaf or Lombre. So you're not guaranteed that all of your grass spawns are going to be Applin. So that's why I personally decided to Masuda method it. And again, Masuda has really, really good odds. Even though eggs suck, the odds are still good. So that's where the Applin came from. And then I got 2 more. One to evolve into a Flapple, and another one to evolve into the Appleton. All right. Silly Cobra. This was one of the worst hunts. This was probably the third or fourth worst shiny hunt in the whole quest. When I was shiny hunting Silly Cobra, I originally started to hunt it on Route 6 in the random encounters. Silly Cobra has a 30% spawn chance in those random encounters, and it's actually the It's the Pokemon that has the highest spawn rate in that random grass. So I figured my odds would be pretty good. I phased 5 times. I hit a shiny Heatmore, a shiny Duskull, a shiny Skorupi, and then a 4th shiny Duskull. And I said, okay, if I phase one more time, I'm just going to go do Masuda method. And that's when I ended up bumping into the infamous shiny Dugtrio.
No!
So, yeah. I left. I was mad. I hated Route 6 for it. I decided to leave, and I went to the daycare and I Masuda methoded Silly Cobra, and I got it shiny after like 416, I think is the number. It was just under 420 eggs is where I got my first shiny Silly Cobra. And then the second one was also done via Masuda method because I was not going back to Route 6. And this was actually right before the Isle of Armor dropped in the game, which introduced a location that had overworld Silly Cobras, which kind of made me upset, but whatever. So I decided to Masuda method a second one. That one did go over, it went over double odds. I went to like 14 or 1500 eggs for that Silly Cobra. But it eventually shined, and, you know, all was fine. I could put that entire evolution line to rest. But yes, Silly Cobra was one of the worst shiny hunts that I did in this entire quest. Alright, so we got Cramorant next. Cram, I started doing wild encounters on the Isle of Armor. I would kind of go back and forth between the Isle of Armor and the mainland wild area if there was weather that boosted or that had Cramorant spawning in the overworld, which I can then further boost with Storm Drain. So I started doing wild encounters there, but then on the days where the weather wasn't in the mainland wild area, I would go to the Isle of Armor, but I was just not getting... I wasn't getting a high rate of encounters on the Isle of Armor. So I felt at the pace that I was going on the Isle of Armor, I'm like, it's basically feeling the same pace as Masuda. So I just decided to go Masuda method it. And then it did end up taking like 1,400 eggs in Masuda method. But I finally got it. And yeah, it's one of my favorite shinies of Gen 8. And shout out to Nate, because Nate loves Cram. But yeah, it's a really cool Pokemon, and I love the shiny of it. Alright, Erakuta and then Barrascuda. These both came from the exact same location. This came from the water, just out, like on Route 2 once you get the water bike. It's another very, very easy shiny hunt. Erakuta and Barrascuda spawn most of the time. You'll run into the occasional Gyarados, but you can just you can just avoid them. And it's a big enough body of water that, you know, you can go from like the top to the bottom, and you can just keep circling and bumping into all the Erakutas and Barrascudas that you see. So that's where both of these came from. Nothing was super, super crazy here. I didn't really keep track of encounters, because these were both done off stream. But yeah, neither of them were super complicated. Alright, Toxol. This one came from the wild area. This was at exactly 420 encounters. So it wasn't too bad. And this Toxtricity hatched, or evolved from a Toxel that I hatched in 12 eggs. It was only 12 eggs for me to get this shiny Toxel, which I evolved into Toxtricity. And yeah, it was very, very quick. Neither of the Toxels took that long. So I'm hoping the third Toxel that I eventually go for, that will give me the other form of Toxtricity, also doesn't take too long, but we'll see what happens. Alright, this Sizzlipede came from Route 3 in the random grass. You can boost its spawn rate to just over 50%, I think, if you use a Flash Fire ability. So that's where I got this one. It didn't take too long, and I was very lucky that I got this on Phase 1, and I didn't run into like a Rookidee or a Machop. Actually, I think it's a Rookidee or Pancham that you get in the random grass there. But yeah, it didn't take me that long at all. And then Centiskorch here, this one did come from Masuda method. I didn't want to test my luck a second time on Route 3 and potentially phase on shinies that I already had. So I just decided to Masuda method the Centiskorch, or the second Sizzlipede that I would evolve into Centiskorch, and it wasn't that bad. But now there's overworld Centiskorches in the Crown Tundra, so you can just shiny hunt a Centiskorch there, and again, you can further boost its spawn rate with the Flash Fire ability, and it just makes them really, really common. Okay, so Clobopus, and Grappalocked. So these both came from eggs. I did have an extra one that came from a raid very, very early on inside of Sword and Shield. But as I was Masuda methoding for the other Clobbopus that I needed, in the extra eggs, I hatched an additional shiny Clobbopus. So I ended up having a duplicate one. So both of these in here were the result of Masuda method. Neither one of them, I don't think... Well, obviously the second one was not super, super lengthy because it came from extra eggs, but the first one wasn't super, super difficult either. I think it may have been around like 300 or 400 eggs. It doesn't really stand out in my mind as being super, super bad. Okay, the Sinistea. This one was Masuda methoded because it's level 1, of course. I don't really remember how many eggs this one took. It doesn't really stand out as being an awful hunt. And then the second Sinistea here that I have evolved into Poltegeist, this one came from random encounters in Glimwood Tangle. I wanted to try my luck at potentially getting a shiny authentic Sinistea. That was not the case, unfortunately. But I did end up getting a shiny Sinistea inside of Glimwood Tangle, so that was really, really cool. It was phase 3. Phase 1 was Hatchram, which we're about to get to next. And phase 2 was Indeedee. So that was pretty cool to phase on a 5% Indeedee inside of Glimwood Tangle and then get the Sinistea phase 3. So it was a very, very good hunt overall. The Sinistea, it was a total of like 4,200 encounters or something like that. But in those 4,200 encounters, I had also gotten the Indeedee and the Hatchram, so it wasn't that bad in the end. So speaking of Hatchram, we got the Hatena line here. This one is obviously Masuda method, because you can see that it's level 1. I was Masuda methoding for one of these. This is the one that came from, this is the Hatchram from Glimwood Tangle. And here's my shiny Hatterene that is hidden ability. So I was very lucky and I hatched a shiny Hatchram with hidden ability. I'm pretty sure the first one that I hatched, though, was not hidden ability, which is why I went for another one via Masuda method. In all honesty, Hatena is probably best done in Masuda method. It's only a 10% spawn chance in the Motostoke outskirts. I think there's a few locations in the wild area where it can spawn, but that's going to be weather dependent. And then if you want, you can strong spawn hunt for Hatterene. But I did both of these through Masuda method. Obviously, this is the one that came from Glimwood Tangle, so I only needed 2. But I really wanted to try my luck at the hidden ability shiny Hatterene, because Magic Bounce is a really, really good ability. So that's where this one came from. Okay, the Impotent line. Not all 3. 2 of these were Masuda method. Obviously, you can tell that this one is because it's level 1. This one came from Glimwood Tangle. After I got the Sinistea, I decided to stay there a little bit and just continue to hunt in the Glimwood Tangle because there was a lot of Pokemon in there that had shinies that, or that I didn't have as a shiny. So I kept hunting there. I ended up getting a Morgrem, a Phantump, and a Shiinotic. And after I got 6 unique shinies, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to test my luck anymore in here. So that's where the Morgrem came from. And then Grimmsnarl, I Masuda methoded another Impidimp, and then I just evolved this all the way up. Alright, Obstagoon. This is probably one of my most memorable shinies in the entire Gen 8 Living Dex. This was also my very first shiny, and if you see the date there, November 16th, 2019, that is the day after these games released. So I was streaming this game all weekend, and I made a lot of progress on day 1 in terms of like the story and, you know, building up my team. And so on day 2, I'm like, you know what? I want to do a shiny hunt and just see, you know, if I can get lucky. And I had seen some shiny images of people posting like shinies that they had gotten on Twitter. And I saw the shiny Galarian Zigzagoon, and I'm like, that looks so good. I just love the vibrant like red, white, and blue on it. And so I'm like, that's what I want to go for. So I started to shiny hunt it on Route 3, and I freaking got it at like 100. That's when we were doing knockouts, because we all assumed that it was a permanent boost to your odds. So it was after like a total of like only 160 knockouts that this thing appeared. So this was full odds. This was no shiny charm. The even cooler thing, it had a mark, which again, that was way before Isle of Armor, so way before Mark Charm. So it was a 1 in 40 96 odds shiny that also came with a 1 in 50 lunchtime mark. So really, really cool. In like overall, probably one of the rarest shinies I have, not just from Gen 8, but just in general. Okay, Berserker. This one came from Route 8, just before you get into like all the stone area where like the Phalanx are walking across and whatnot. Very, very easy shiny hunt. I was about to leave the area, and I just caught that there was a Berserker that spawned, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll go back and encounter it, and that one was shiny. So it was super, super cool that I was able to, or that I saw that there was another Berserker, and went back, because I said this like 4 times in the highlight. I'm like, I was going to leave the area, and it's true, I was. So it was pretty cool that I caught that there. Cursula. I believe I Masuda methoded both of my shiny Gallerian Corsolas. So yeah, we got one of these here as Cursula, and then the other one is in with the Galerians. Alright, so moving on to Surfetched. Surfetched was Masuda method. Well, the Farfetched was, at least. This was one of the shinies where I'm like, I am not gonna see it. I'm gonna have to wait for the sparkles. And people that had hunted it before me said, you'll be surprised. It's actually noticeable when you're hunting it. And so I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, probably, but I still think I'm gonna miss it. And both shiny Farfetcheds, there's actually 3. I accidentally released one, because in home you can't tell the difference if you don't look for the sparkle symbol, if you're looking at the small images. So I accidentally released the extra one. But I kept the 2 that mattered for the living decks. So yeah, so both of those, all 3 of the Farfetched did not take very long at all. The third one was actually in extra eggs that I was hatching after I had got the second one. So that was really, really cool. A nice surprise I wasn't expecting. Alright, Mr. Rhyme. I caught 2 Mr. Mimes on Route 10. The snowy route that's just before Winden. I caught both of my shiny Mr. Mimes there and evolved one. They were both under 1,000 encounters, I think. So like getting close to odds, but not like super, super crazy over odds. Runerigus. This one sucked. This was evolved from a Galarian Yamask that I Masuda methoded and almost went 2,200 eggs for the Galarian Yamask. I think the exact number was 2,184 for a shiny Galarian Yamask to give me Runerigus. It was a very, very awful hunt. It's one of the worst ones I've done. But I really, really liked this. I really, really liked this shiny. So it was super worth it for me. The second Galarian Yamask did not take long at all. It was 180-ish eggs. That was again during a community hunt. So yeah, it was really, really cool. Okay, so Milceri. This one was Masuda method, obviously, because it's level 1. I really don't remember how many encounters this was. I think this was somewhere like 700-800 eggs, but I'm not exactly sure. And then this one, obviously, I Masuda methoded as well. I didn't really want to take my chance with random encounters on Route 4 for Milceri there, because by the time I got around to hunting Milceri, I had already got a lot of the other shiny, or a lot of the other Pokemon as shinies that can spawn on Route 4. So I just didn't really want to, potentially have like another Silly Cobra incident. So we just Masuda methoded these. I actually can't remember if Silly Cobra was before or after the Milceries, but not really important. Phalanx, this one came from Masuda method, obviously, as you can tell. This was a shiny race against Princess Tia. I lost. I did, however, get the shiny. Just over 200 encounters. Tia got hers in like 180. So that was very, very cool. Congrats to her for winning that. But I still walked away with a shiny, so that was really, really cool. Alright, Pincurchin. You might be wondering, why on earth is this caught in a Master Ball? And I promise there's a very good reason for it. I was doing overworld Pincurchin encounters on the Crown Tundra, in the Isle of Armor, my apologies, And the Pincurchin that I bumped into that was shiny had a brilliant aura around it. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go check what egg moves Pincurchin can possibly learn. And Memento is one of its egg moves. And Memento makes it faint. So I didn't want to risk it fainting on me, hence the Master Ball. It did take a while to find this. I think it was around like 2,000 encounters. I was hunting there for a while. But I eventually did find it. But when I saw that it had the Brilliant Aura, and I saw that Memento was a possible egg move, I just chucked a Master Ball at it. Obviously, as you can tell by the moves that are there, it did not end up having Memento. But I didn't know that at the time, and I figured, you know, I'm just better to be safe than sorry. Had I known that going into this, I would have come with a Pokemon that had Imprison and Memento, if there's a Pokemon that you can assemble with both of those moves, so that it wouldn't have been able to use it anyways. But I failed to do research, so it cost me a Master Ball, but I got the shiny, so I was still happy. Okay, Snomed. This was caught on Route 8, just going into Circhester. I think I got this around like 600 or 700 random encounters, so it wasn't too bad. And then I got a second one there that I evolved into a Frostmoth. Don't remember how many encounters the second one was because I did it off stream and I wasn't counting for that specific shiny hunt. But yeah, both Snomes came just before Circhester, and I really, really like it shiny. It's a nice subtle green, and then on the Frostmoth, just like you can see how the wings are just a little bit more green, and the eyes too. It's just so nice. All right, Stongener. This one was Masuda method, and it was exactly 69 eggs, and Kenman guessed it exactly. So that was pretty cool. Very, very easy shiny hunt there. Ice-Skew, also Masuda method. Don't remember how many eggs it was. It doesn't stand out as being awful. So yeah, another great shiny from Masuda method. Indeedee, this was the Indeedee I was talking about that I said I phased on going for Sinistea and Glimwood Tangle, so that was super cool to phase on a 5% Indeedee. Also because Indeedee's eggs are 10k steps to hatch. It has the same kind of eggs as like Eevee and Dragons, so I was really thankful I did not have to Masuda method an Indeedee. Alright, Morpeko. This one I hunted while I was actually doing random encounters on Route 8 in the grass just outside Spikemouth. And this was Phase 2. Phase 1 was a Liepard. And then I got Morpeko on Phase 2. I was again using the leading my party with a Pokemon with Static so that the electric encounters would be boosted, and Morpeko was the only electric type Pokemon in the random grass on Route 8. I still phased, but I still needed shiny Liepard, so that was really cool. Alright, Cufant. This one I got in the wild area. I was using Magnet Pull to boost its spawns when there was weather that would let it spawn. 1,600 encounters, I think it was over odds, but like only barely, so it wasn't really that bad. Copperajah. This one was 6 encounters. 6 total. It was actually like a random encounter. I would go around the wild area and just check strong spawns. And one day I flew to the wild area spot that's just outside of Hammerlock, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just go check the Copperajah, and it was shiny. So that was really cool. Okay, we're into the fossils. So, 2 of these fossils, very easy. It was both of the Zolts. So Dracozolt and Arctozolt were each like 600 encounters, give or take. Dracovish was just over 5,000, and Arctovish was like 5,500. So it balanced out. The Vishes were vicious to me. I'm sorry if that pun hurt. And the Zolts were quick. So yeah, it was kind of cool how that worked out, but Arctovish was the last one I got, and it sucked that the last one that I did was like a 5,500 encounter shiny hunt, but it happens. But getting all the fossils is really cool. All the fossils are not boosted by the shiny charm. So if you're looking for an early shiny hunt that you want to do, you can go reset for a fossil, because even if you get the shiny charm, it's not going to help you on these things. Okay, Doraledon. I got this one just under 1,000 encounters. I think it was 997. I think is the exact number for this one. I used Magnet Pull to boost the spawn rate of this on Route 10. And yeah, it made it a very, very easy shiny hunt. It's the only Steel-type Pokemon that can spawn in the overworld on Route 10. So it was just very, very easy to shiny hunt it there if you had Magnet Pull. It's originally a 1% spawn rate in the overworld. But if you, like I said, use Magnet Pull, you boost its spawn rate to just over 50%. I think, or just under, basically around 50%. So it's very, very easy to shiny hunt that way. Okay, the Dreepy line. All three of these, of course, came from Masuda Method. Yeah, it's the dragons of this generation. One of them was easy. I got very lucky at like 67 eggs, but the other two punished me for that 67 egg Dreepy. They were both like over 1,000, I think. One of them was nice, but having to go 1,000 plus eggs for a dragon is never fun. So yeah, but I really like the shiny on Dragapult. I really like the yellow on it personally. I think it's so much more vibrant than the red. I just think it's a really cool shiny and a really cool Pokemon. Okay, so obviously Zacian and Zamazenta do not have obtainable shinies. Neither does Eternatus, nor Cubfu, nor Urshifu. Neither does Zarude. I actually don't have a Zarude in Pokemon Home right now. That's why Urshifu just skips right over to Regieleki. But Regieleki has an obtainable shiny, and it sucked. This was by far my worst ever shiny hunt across any game. And I don't think it's going to be beat for a while. Regieleki was 15,448 encounters. So many people have been going into 5 digits for the Regis that it makes it very, very difficult to believe that they are supposed to be affected by the shiny charm. I was very lucky on Regidrago. I got this one in 661 encounters, but very unlucky on Aleki at 15,448. So I don't know if they... I really don't know if the shiny charm is affecting these things. It's really hard to say. When I've got one that's 661 and the other one is 15,448, it's really hard to say. But either way, we got them both. Regieleki was the final shiny I needed to complete the Living Dex, and I caught this on February 3rd of this year. So very, very happy to have finally finished this hunt, and this was the one that wrapped up the Living Dex for me. Alright, and then Glastrier, Spectrier, Calyrex obviously do not have obtainable shinies, so I'm just going to skip through the Alolands. And we're going to get into the Galarians. Now, some of these I already touched on, especially if they have a pre-evolution. Meowth I got the same day I got Berserker. It was very, very quick, so that's why I decided to go hunt for Berserker after I got the Meowth. I got this on Route 4, just before Turtfield City, again using Magnet Pull to boost the Steel-type spawn rates. To boost the spawn rates. Ponyta and Rapidash, these were both Masuda methoded. I was really hoping that in the process of going for Sinistea in Glimwood Tangle, I was going to phase on a Ponyta, but I unfortunately didn't. So Ponyta was like the second shiny that I ever hunted. You can see November 24th, 2019. This was like the second or third shiny that I hunted for when the game's released. This was like 600 eggs, I think, give or take. And then the other one here also was still Masuda method, but I don't remember how many eggs this one took. It wasn't very long, but yeah, I don't exactly remember how many. Alright, so we got the Gallerian Slowpoke family. This was introduced with the DLC, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. So this one I got on the Isle of Armor, that's why it's level 60. Here is the shiny Gallerian Slowbro. Right before the Isle, you could get Gallerian Slowpoke before the Isle of Armor was actually accessible, because there was the Gallerian Slowpoke inside of Wedgehurst Station, so you could go get that. That Slowpoke is shiny locked, but you can catch that Slowpoke and then Masuda method it. So I did, I hunted for 2 Slowpokes, so I would have a shiny Slowpoke and a second shiny Slowpoke ready to immediately evolve into a Galarian Slowbro as soon as the Isle of Armor became accessible. And I really, really like the shiny Galarian Slowbro. The one that I caught wild was like 3,000 encounters. It was brutal in the wild. But the other two from Masuda Method, this one and then the one that I turned into the Slowking, were not too bad. So here's the Farfetch'd. It is very it is a little tricky to tell that it's shiny, but you can kind of see that the brown feathers go a little bit lighter and the stomach goes a little gold. Wasn't too bad. I kind of already talked about this when I talked about Surfetch'd. Galarian Wheezing. This one was pretty quick. I caught this inside of the Slumbering Weald. There's a couple things that you can do to prevent wheezing from blowing itself up. You can either bring a Quagsire or any Pokemon that has the ability Damp, and that will prevent the opposing Pokemon from using a move like Self-Destruct or Explode. Alternatively, what you can do is you can bring a Pokemon that knows Self-Destruct and Imprison, and that's actually what I did. And you can then go turn 1 Imprison, and it will prevent the wheezing from using any moves that the user of Imprison knows. So that's why you just teach the same Pokemon, or the Pokemon the same move as Imprison. You teach it Self-Destruct. Drifblim is a very easy Pokemon to do this with. Drifblim can learn both Self-Destruct and Explosion, and Imprison, so it's a very, very good Pokemon to use to prevent other Pokemon from blowing themselves up. So that's what I did. It's a very difficult shiny to notice inside Slumbering Weald, but once you take it outside of Slumbering Weald, or you look at it on the summary screen or in Pokemon Home, it's a very, very nice shiny. We kind of already talked about Mr. Mime when we were talking about Mr. Rhyme. The Galarian birds do not have currently obtainable shinies, so they are not part of the living dex. Here is the Gallerian Slowking, and here is the shiny Gallerian Slowking. It is a very, very disappointing shiny. The Slowbro, Galarian Slowbro, has an awesome looking shiny, but the Slowking is very, very disappointing. When the Tundra released, I was all excited to evolve my Slowpoke into a Galarian Slowking, and then when it evolved, I was like, wait, this looks like the normal one. It was just very, very disappointing. We talked about Corsola when we were talking about Cursula. Here's the other Zigzagoons. So I caught the other Zigzagoons that I needed for the living dex. I caught one of these on Route 2. And I think this one may have also come from Route 2, or it came from Route 3. I can't exactly remember. But neither one of them were super, super lengthy hunts, which was really, really nice. We've got the Galarian Darumaka and Darmanitan. I really like these shinies, even though the snow doesn't change. The hands and the feet and the face going green from blue, I just think is a really, really cool shiny. And like the gems on it change a little bit. You can see here they're kind of like a teal almost, and here they're like a darker blue. I think it's a really, really nice shiny. I'm a pseudo methoded both of these, and it just needs an Ice Stone to evolve, so I kind of like having a level 1 shiny Galarian Darmanitan. But yeah, neither one of these were super, super lengthy shiny hunts, and yeah, just really, really awesome shinies too. This is the Galarian Yamask. That did not take that long because I got this during a community hunt, and Stunfisk. Behind Regieleki, this was the second, so this would be the second worst shiny of the entire living dex. I did 7,003 exactly. 7,003 encounters in Galar Mine number 2 for shiny Stunfisk. It was brutal. It was painful. I really hated it. But I didn't want to switch to Masuda method. I just was like, you know what? I started it this way. I'm going to stick with it. And we got it at 7,003. So it kind of became like a counting, like a measure, like a unit of measurement while we were going for Regieleki. Once I got to 14,006, I was like, all right, guys, this is double Stunfisk now, and it was just brutal. But it was nice to finally get it. It was the third encounter of the stream, so that made it extra hype. Personally, I like the non-shiny better. I really feel, based off of the original colors of Stunfisk from the Unova region, that this should be the non-shiny, and this should be the shiny. But that's just my personal opinion. And so yeah, that's it, I think, because yeah, we're getting into the other extra forms of Toxtricity and Alcremie and whatnot. So there it is, folks. There are the 96 shinies that we hunted to get our complete Gen 8 Shiny Living Dex. Thank you everybody so much for watching this video. I'm just looking at the recording time in OBS here, and this is 47 minutes, so thank you so much for everybody that's stuck through and watched this entire thing. Just very quickly, because I don't really want to make this any longer than it needs to be, in terms of where we're going next, we're focusing on doing Dynamax adventures every Thursday night with our community. We're going for Necrozma right now during the Dynamax adventures, so if you want to come on by and join us for some Dynamax adventures on stream, the Twitch link will be in the description down below. Also, I'll probably put some text up on screen here. So we do those every Thursday night, and then obviously, as you can see right now, I'm going for Shiny Miltank. Basically, I'm just going for other shinies that I just really like. So that's my plan for the on-stream shiny hunts, and I'm kind of working on like some less exciting Dynamax adventures like the Lake Spirits and whatnot off stream, and like the extra shinies like, you know, the extra Toxtricity and the extra Alchremies and all that stuff. So that's what we're focusing on off stream. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you everybody so much for watching this video. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.